Ever taken one of those personality quizzes online or been told, just be yourself, and wondered, well, who is that exactly? Now, what if I told you your authentic self might just be a grand illusion? Would you believe me? I want you just to imagine for a moment that every morning you wake up to find a different person in the mirror. Sounds unsettling, hey? Well, as wild as it may sound, that's not far from reality. You're not necessarily the same person you were 10 years ago, last year, or even yesterday. But why? That's what we're here to uncover. And we're not just going to discuss abstract philosophy here. We've got neuroscience, psychology, social sciences, all gearing up to dismantle this myth of the authentic self you're holding on to. Now, it's a journey that's going to take us from the depths of our brain circuits to the expanses of societal norms. Today, we're diving into why the idea of your authentic self might just be a myth. Now, I want you to picture this. A newborn baby arrives into a world that's obsessed with categorizing everything from their mother's face to the bed that they rest in. As we get older, we're quickly branded with labels that are meant to encapsulate our being. For example, things like, you're the creative type, they say, or an introvert, or they say, you're obviously a leader. Now think back to when you were a child. How often did you hear labels like these? How quickly did they transform from these casual observations into defining traits? One day you're called the funny one because you made your cousin laugh at a family gathering. The next thing you know, you're the comedian of your class, expected to always have a quick joke up your sleeve. But here's the kicker. These labels that were so casually bestowed upon us, they tend to stick. They seep into our subconscious, becoming the internal blueprint we reference to construct our identity, our brand. We begin to understand and present ourselves with the tight parameters of these labels. So I wonder, have you ever felt boxed in by our labels? Now, you might argue that labels can be helpful, and it's true to a certain extent. They can guide us, give us a sense of identity and just belonging. But what happens when these labels start to feel more like chains than guides? What happens when they create a mold that our growing, evolving selves no longer fit into? Is the issue within us, or is the problem with the rigid structure of the label itself? Now, I want to pause here and invite you to reflect. I want you just to really seriously think about this. Have you ever found yourself suppressing an urge to act or react differently because it didn't match the label you've been given? Have you ever pushed down a trait or a talent or a dream or desire because it didn't align with your so-called authentic self? Have you felt a twinge of guilt or discomfort when you've acted out of sync with the image of who you're supposed to be? And one more question that's probably the most important one. Did it ever occur to you that perhaps, just perhaps, it's the label that's too small and that it's not big enough? It doesn't really truly capture who you are. Now let's turn the page and welcome one of the most groundbreaking figures in the realm of psychology, Carl Jung. Now I want you to picture him as an intrepid explorer, not of uncharted lands, but of the murky, intriguing labyrinth that is the human psyche. Jung, a contemporary of Freud, saw beyond the veneer of the persona, that is, the outward face that we present to the world, our brand, which is often shaped by our labels. To Jung, we are so much more than the roles that we play or the labels that we identify with. He proposed that the human personality is more akin to like a kaleidoscope rather than a static picture, an ever-shifting pattern of colors and shapes. His take on personality was like a dance of opposites, a constant tug-of-war between opposing forces within us. One of Jung's most compelling contributions to psychology, in my opinion, is the concept of the shadow self. Imagine your personality as an iceberg. The tip visible above the water, represents our conscious selves, the part we acknowledge and we just seem to kind of almost identify with. But below the surface lurks that much larger part of the iceberg, unseen and often unacknowledged. This is the shadow self. Now, according to Jung, the shadow self is an integral part of our unconscious mind. It's the storehouse of our repressed ideas, our instincts, our weaknesses, and even our untapped potential. It's the alter ego we don't talk about at parties, the aspects of ourselves that we tend to sweep under the carpet because they don't quite mesh with the image of our authentic self. But does ignoring this part make it any less real? Now let's go on a little bit of a journey, an introspective journey. I want you to think back to a time when you were caught off guard by your own reaction to something. Perhaps a surprising outburst of anger in a generally calm person, or a sudden display of courage from someone who identifies as a coward. Was there a time when you had a thought or an impulse that felt so foreign that you almost wanted to say, hey, wait, where did that thing come from? Could it be that in those surprising moments, your shadow self was peeking out from beneath the surface, bidding for some sunlight? And if so, what does it tell you about the multidimensional nature of your personality? Are you ready to acknowledge and explore this often neglected facet of your being? Now that we've unboxed this Pandora's box of human complexity, you might be wondering, so how do I navigate through this labyrinth? I have some suggestions for you, some actionable strategies that might help you grapple with this perplexing complexity. The first step is like a voyage into our inner world. Call it self-reflection, introspection, or just a good hard look in the mirror. Now you might want to find a quiet corner and delve into your actions, your reactions, your feelings. What patterns do you see surfacing? So seriously, just spend some quiet time just sitting there reflecting. Are there recurring traits or responses that don't quite fit into the jigsaw of your authentic self? Are there aspects of yourself that you're uncomfortable acknowledging? Is there a part of you that you've locked away in a mental dungeon because it doesn't align with who you think you are? Ask yourself, how does it feel to be a living, breathing paradox? The second step is to embrace the beautiful contradiction that you are. Life is a spectrum of hues, not just black and white. Consider this. You might be someone who relishes solitude, quietness, alone time, yet find joy in a boisterous gathering of friends. You may meticulously follow rules, but occasionally fantasize about a wild, rule-free adventure. Now that's the magic of being human. We aren't single threads. That's not our narrative, but intricate tapestries woven from countless threads of experiences and emotions and just human daily interactions. And here comes the third and final step. Broaden your horizon of understanding to encompass others. As you dive into the depths of your persona, acknowledge that those around you are on their similar introspective journeys as well. Recognize that every person you encounter has their own labyrinth, their own dark shadows, their own unique kaleidoscope of personality. Can you see how it might help you foster deeper connections, more compassionate interactions? Isn't it fascinating how exploring your depths can actually create bridges to others? And as you embark on this journey of self-discovery and understanding, remember, there is no definitive destination. We're all travelers navigating our way through the convoluted maze of the self. And perhaps, I don't know, it's almost like the journey is the destination. So what are you going to discover about yourself today? So to circle back, is the authentic self a myth? Well, if we define authentic self as a fixed, unchanging entity, an unchanging personality, then perhaps it is a myth. But if we see it as a dynamic, evolving, multifaceted identity, then it's very much a reality. So today, I invite you to ask yourself, who am I beyond my labels? What parts of me have I not acknowledged? What aspects of my personality have I yet to discover? Remember, the journey to self-discovery isn't a straight path, but a winding road full of discoveries, detours, and delightful surprises. The quest for understanding our true selves is not about reaching a destination, but about savoring the journey. It's about learning and growing and just continually evolving. Because in the end, isn't that what being human is all about? Let's continue this exploration, this dance with our evolving selves. And before I go, please leave me a comment on this video topic today, and let's get a conversation rolling. Do you agree or disagree? What other topics would you like me to do? And please press the subscribe button to get the notifications when I drop a new video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.